Hello and welcome to another video on trapezia. And you may have noticed my voice is a bit nasally today, so I do apologise in advance. So what did we look at last lesson? Well, we looked at calculating the area of a trapezia. So just as a bit of a recap, how do we calculate the area of a trapezia? Well, we add the two parallel sides together. So we add the two parallel sides together, so we could label these A and B. So we add them together, and then we multiply that by half of our height. So if we just label this H for our height, we would multiply the sum of our parallel sides by half of our height. Now we could also slightly rearrange this, so we could also say that the area of a trapezium is the same as when we add the two parallel sides. Then instead of multiplying by half our height, we could divide by 2 first and then multiply it by our height. Both of these are valid. So what we've got here is we've got a trapezium, but we're told what the area is, and we need to calculate the height. So we're going to have to work backwards to try and calculate the missing height, which is x. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add the parallel sides together. So I'm going to do 11 plus 17, and then I'm going to divide by 2. And then I know that if I multiply that by our height, that gives us our area. So I'm going to multiply that by x, and that equals our area, which is 70. So we've got all of these different numbers here. The thing we're missing is x, which is our height. So first of all, let's work out what's in the brackets. So we've got 11 plus 17, that gives us 28. 28 divided by 2 is 14. So we now know that 14 times our height is equal to 70. So now we can just solve this equation. To get x on its own, I'm just going to divide both sides by 14. So I divide both sides by 14, and I get x is equal to 5. So our answer, x equals 5 centimetres. Okay, let's do another one, but this time, one of our parallel sides is missing. So we know to calculate the area, we're going to add the two parallel sides. So we're going to do x plus 9, and then we're going to divide by 2, and we're going to multiply that by our height. So we're going to multiply that by our height, which is 5, and then that equals the area, which is 55. So this time we just need to work out what the missing length is. Now the first thing I could think of doing is to get rid of this multiplied by 5 here. So to get rid of this, I'm just going to divide by 5. So I'm going to divide both sides by 5. So what are we left with? Well, on the left hand side, we're just left with x plus 9 over 2. And on the right hand side, 55 divided by 5 gives us 11. And now let's get rid of this divide by 2. So if we multiply both sides by 2, well, on the left hand side, we're just left with x plus 9. And on the right hand side, 11 times 2 is 22. And now our final step, we want to get rid of that 9. So if we subtract 9 from both sides, then we are left with x equals 22 minus 9 is 13. So our answer is 13 centimetres. And we can just check that our answer is correct. If we work out the area of a trapezium like normal, we should get an answer of 55. So let's just try that. So if we add our parallel sides together, so 13 plus 9, and then divide by 2, and then multiply by our height, which is 5, what does that give us? Well, 13 plus 9 is 22. 22 divided by 2 is 11. 11 times 5 is indeed 55 centimetres squared. So we know we've got it correct. Okay, so it's over to you now. Pause the video and see if you can calculate the missing side length in each of these trapezia. Okay, let's go through this. So the first one, we're going to add the two parallel sides together. So we're going to do 10 plus 6. Then we're going to divide that by 2. And then we're going to multiply by our height, which is just x. And that should equal our area, which is 68. So the first thing I can think of doing is just working out what's inside the brackets. So 10 plus 6 is 16. 16 divided by 2 is 8. So this whole thing here is 8x. And that equals 68. So now we just need to divide both sides by 8. If I divide both sides by 8. And what's we left with? Well, we've got x equals... Well, 8 doesn't go into 68 nicely without any remainder. So if we just simplify this, so if we half both numbers, that leaves us with 34 over 4. and then we can just half both numbers again. That's the same as 17 over 2, and 17 over 2, well, that's the same as 8.5. So our answer is 8.5 centimeters. Okay, question 2. So again, this time we don't have our longer parallel side. So same thing as before. If we add the two parallel sides together, so it's going to be x plus 8. So x plus 8. Then we're going to divide by 2. And then we're going to multiply by our height, which is 4. And that should equal our area, which is 36. So the first thing to do, let's get rid of this multiplied by 4. So if we divide both sides by 4, we're left with x plus 8 over 2. And then 36 divided by 4 is 9. And now if we multiply both sides by 2 to get rid of this 2, we're left with x plus 8 equals 9 times 2 is 18. And now if we subtract 8 from both sides, we are left with x equals 18 minus 8 is 10. So our answer is 10 centimeters. So I hope you enjoyed this video. And in the next video, I think I'll do one more on trapezia, which is going to include some word-based problems that you might come across in, for example, a GCSE paper. See you soon.